Working on the 03 Dodge Cummins. Blew up the turbocharger. So I'm gonna give you a little tour of what happened here, or what I did so far. Remove the battery. Don't have to do that, but makes things a lot easier. Right here is the intercooler pipe. It goes from here to there. Take that off. Right here was the air filter. And then you have an intake that goes to this guy. Right there's the turbocharger. Problem that I have is the oil is blowing past it. And the oil goes right out the exhaust, smokes, goes through the intercooler, goes into the intake, smoke everywhere. Air filter, housing, filthy air filter, battery. Intake pipe goes from this guy, the air filter housing, to the turbo. And over here is my intercooler pipe, and it was full of oil. Bad. So I got all those components off, and the next thing is going to happen is this oil, the intake for the oil, the intake line for the oil line intake. I don't know what it's called, but oil comes from the filter housing, goes into the turbo shaft, lubricates the turbo shaft, and then underneath is an exit pipe. Well, I put a wrench on this bad boy and I tweaked it. Be careful doing that. There's 4 bolts on this turbo that bolt it to the manifold. These 2 are easy to get, but you got these 2 in the back. I reached it from the bottom with a 24-inch socket. One on that side, one on the other side. It's a tight bugger. Gonna have to put a pipe on it to get it off. Okay, got the turbo out. Right there's the down pipe to the exhaust. You can see it's full of oil down there. This right here is a return line that bolts underneath the turbo. It was pretty easy to get out. There's a stud coming down that bolts to the turbo housing. Here she is. This right here is where the stud was sticking down just a minute ago. This bolt right here was the most difficult. These two bolts I was able to reach from the bottom of the truck underneath. The one on the right was a real bear. It's a number 15. I bought a new return line for this guy. This is the intake tube. It goes to the intercooler that cools the air going into the motor. You can see my fan, there's some rubber crap right in here. Spins okay. And the shaft seems okay, but I know it's not. This has got to come off. It bolts on right here. This guy right here disconnected. This is the wastegate valve. Wastegate. Not sure how it works, but okay. I turned the turbo upside down. It's full of oil because that's part of what happened with it. Is the oil seal blew. These things are lubricated from motor oil. When the seal blows, that you've got oil that goes out the exhaust or oil that goes into the intake. Most of my oil was going out the exhaust. This is a typical return, and I unbolted that one from the bottom. It was 10 millimeter, really easy to take off. There's my oil intake, and then when I turn this thing upside down, it was leaking some oil there. Here's a new one. Here's the wastegate. We could have lost that, we'd have been fine. Here's the old one. This comes off, bolts to the new one. Okay, comparison of the two turbochargers. This is the new one right here. And you can see that the turbine, this guy turns and spins freely. This is my wastegate. This guy is stuck and hammered. It don't do nothing. It just sticks there and there's oil everywhere. Wastegate is still okay. This guy is toast. Toast. This guy is still good. So I'm pretty sure my turbo is done. What do you say, Alfred? Got the new turbo partially installed. You can see I took this elbow off. I took it off the old turbo and I put it on the downpipe first, and I was able to rotate it out of the way, and when I did that, I could reach these bolts better. This bolt back here is really hard to reach. So I moved that pipe and it was a little bit easier to reach. I could get it started. So I'm gonna tighten those 4 bolts up, and then I'm gonna hook up that elbow. Got to hook up my return line, which is my return line right there, my return line. Hook that up on the bottom, and then we're gonna be rolling. Okay, a little update here. We got the turbo installed, and again, this bolt in the back was the most difficult back here. We reached it underneath with a long socket. Same with this one. This one was easier. You can't see them for a minute. These guys, no, nothing to it. Use a wrench on these guys. And then back here, you've got an elbow with a clamp, and then another clamp down here. These are a 7/16, and it wasn't too bad. Just make sure you've got it in correctly and not upside down. I used a floor jack to lift up the exhaust pipe to align it, and the floor jack helped a lot for this guy. Next, we have our inlet tube. Oil filter, we're going to change the oil filter right here. Drain the oil out, put new oil in it, and we'll be rolling.